Hey there, Wes Barefoot with Path to Freedom, and thanks for joining me on this next episode of my franchising FAQ series. So in today's episode, I want to talk about a common question, or I guess a common concern that I hear often when working with people who are interested in exploring franchise opportunities, and that is, what to expect during the franchise sales process. So in other words, I talk to a lot of people and they're actually a little bit nervous to actually engage with franchise companies to go through the due diligence, or what I call the franchise investigative process. And the reason for this is they feel like they're going to be sold. They feel like maybe they're going into kind of a high pressure situation. I almost get the sense that some people have the same type of apprehension going into this process as they do pulling up to a used car dealership's lot, where someone's going to try to sell them a bag of goods, and maybe it's as good as they say it is, but chances are it's probably not. So my thoughts, my experience on this, because when you're working with very good, very reputable franchisors, this really should not be a concern. I'm not saying that all franchisors, handle this investigative process the right way. There are certainly franchisors out there that are pretty much looking to sell a franchise to anyone that will write them a check for a franchise fee. But the really good franchisors, this is not the approach that they take. In fact, it's actually quite the opposite of that. They are looking to partner with people, partners, groups of people that they think will be long-term successful franchisees for them in their brand. So this process, this investigative process that I've referred to, is really a mutual evaluation. And this I've found is counterintuitive for a lot of the people that I work with, because they come into the process thinking, hey, I'm going to, just ping them with questions left and right. They're going to have to prove to me why they are the right franchise for me. And then if they're lucky, I will grace them with my presence as a franchisee. And that's the wrong attitude to bring into this process. Yes, the investigative process is absolutely about getting your questions answered, getting any concerns that you may have about the business addressed, and ultimately you getting comfortable with why this franchise would actually be a good fit for you. But it's a two-way street. The franchisor is going to want to know and understand these same things about you. So if you come into the process with your guard up, if you come into your process on the offensive, thinking that they're going to have to really prove to you why they are a franchise worth you investing in, you're probably not going to get that far into the process if you're working with a good, reputable franchisor that really understands how franchising works, because they're not going to view you as a good partner, right? So it's very important to think of this as a mutual evaluation. It's certainly important that you are getting your questions answered and you're learning about the business and the brand and how the franchisor supports their franchisees. And, as we've talked about in previous videos, what are you getting in exchange for the upfront fees that you're paying, as well as the ongoing fees that you're paying? But additionally, the franchisor is going to want to get to know you. They're going to want to understand, what is your background? What is it that you like about our business? They're going to want to understand your strengths, your skill sets. How do you feel you're going to be able to leverage these things to be successful as a franchisee in their business? Because the beauty of franchising and why it works is that you have mutually aligned entities, the franchisor and the franchisees. And franchisors make their money through having long-term successful partnerships with their franchisees. Franchisors don't make their money from selling franchises and the initial franchise fees that they get. If they actually make any profit from those activities, it's very little compared to the money that they make in their royalty streams, right? Remember, most franchisors have a royalty where they're actually collecting a percentage of a franchisee's gross revenue. So a good franchisor is going to want to feel very confident that someone they're bringing in as a franchisee has a very high likelihood of being successful as a franchisee in their business for a very long time. Otherwise, it's really not worth it. And there's a lot of reasons for that, probably too many to get into in this short video today. But the point I want to drive home is that when dealing with world-class franchisors, you need to understand it's a mutual evaluation. Yes, come to the table with questions, come to the table with concerns. Obviously, you need to learn about the business for you to feel confident that it's a good fit for you, but just understand that ultimately through this process, you also need to demonstrate and prove to the franchisor why you're a good fit to be a franchisee and what you're going to do in your business to be successful. And a lot of people find it surprising that with really good franchisors, they have this entire process structured as an approval process. So at the end of the process, you're either going to be approved to become a franchisee or not. And I've seen it happen when, people don't approach this process in the right way. They actually find a franchise that they think would be a great fit for them and they're excited to move forward, but they didn't handle themselves correctly as they went through this process and in their interactions with the franchisor, and they weren't approved. So don't let that happen to you. Make sure you understand why franchising works. At the end of the day, it's a partnership. And just like in any other partnership, both parties need to be on the same page. There needs to be trust and there needs to be mutual respect. So the real point I want to get across here is that when dealing with great franchisors, you should not come into the process with any apprehension that they're just going to be trying to sell you this package that is too good to be true, right? Because as I've just explained, that's not how great franchisors approach this. They're not looking to sell you something that doesn't exist in reality. Obviously, they are going to be proud of their brand. They're going to, want to talk to you about how they're different from, any other competitors in their industry, or, how they've got a special way of doing things that allow their franchisees the opportunity to be more successful. But they're not going to try to paint this picture for you that doesn't exist in reality, because then you have a much lower likelihood of going on to be successful as a franchisee. A good franchisor is going to show you the good, show you the bad, show you the ugly. They're going to want to make sure you understand what the challenges are that you'll likely encounter as a franchisee and how they can help you overcome those challenges. But their goal is not to try to convince you to buy a franchise. Their goal is to help you understand the business and what it takes to be successful so that you can make a decision for yourself. Their goal is also to get to know you so that they can feel confident that you would be a great addition as a franchisee. They want to feel confident that you're going to represent their brand well and that you'll have a high likelihood of going on to be successful. So you shouldn't be scared going into this process that, it's going to be a high pressure sales pitch type situation. It's really not when you're working with good franchisors. So if you'd like some help finding great franchise companies to look at that are looking for great franchise partners, that's what I'm here to help with. But in the meantime, I hope this video was helpful. Thanks so much for tuning in, and we'll see you next time.